that's the thing too. While I was like my last quarter of school, like I faced so many people telling me like, what are you gonna do? Animation or dance? You can't do both.
This is kind of in relation to you doing other things. Did you ever break away from your time with dance to pursue another career? And if so, what was that career and why?
Did I ever break?
I know you told me about something and I was surprised. So,
I mean, I never. Okay. Oh, you're talking about when I was a gamer. I was working in the gaming industry. That one.
Yeah. What else did you do as a career?
Dance has always been a constant in my life. Everything like the career choices were kind of different, but dance has always been there somehow or some way. Okay, I've never had to break away from it, but even when I was working prior to whole dancing and prior to Vision Paradox, and when I was working in the game industry and animation industry,
and what
I was still driving to Alhambra to teach class.
Oh my gosh. So can you explain to us what you were doing aside from teaching dance at this time?
So, I mean, I could be mixing my timelines at this point, but no. I was. Jesus Christ, I was doing that.
Because dancers always do a bunch of things at the same time. So
yeah, I was still teaching dance. Like, I was still working in the animation and game industry. This was like in 2008 to 2013 is when I was working into it. Like right after I graduated, I went straight into the animation game industry. Yeah, I worked on I tell people I worked as an animator, but I technically did, but the position I did is more called rigging, which is the more technical aspect of animating, which is setting up the bones and the controllers for the animators, which also pays a lot more. But it was also one of the processes that I liked a lot more than animating. Yeah, and I got to work on a couple games some people might have heard of. I worked on Quantum of Solace. I worked on Silent Hill, Shattered Memories. And the last game I ever worked on was Tomb Raider, the first reboot game. And in terms of films, I only worked on 2 movies because at least the studio that I was working with, or the animation house I was with, I just didn't like their culture. But when I was working with them, I worked on the first Smurfs movie and the last Harry Potter movie. So. And then that was it. I was like, fuck this.
I mean, that's amazing. That's amazing. And I feel like a lot of younger dancers feel like if they're pursuing dance, they have to stick to that. They've got to put all their eggs in that basket. But really, no. I feel like one great way to make it as a dancer is to have something else on the side that will keep you afloat while you pursue your career in dance. So
yeah.
How did that come about for you? Because you said you started right after high school to do this.
For what? Animation? Oh, no. After high school? No, right after I graduated college. I was able to get hired.
Okay. So, he went to college.
Even though I tell half the team to drop out half the time. I tell yes, I have a bachelor's degree. Even though I tell everyone in temper tantrum to drop out. Yeah, so I never took a break after high school. Like right after high school, 3 weeks, after I graduated, I started college right away. And I graduated right on my 21st birthday. And I was determined.
Oh my God.
But it was
so where did you go and what was your major?
I went to Art Institute of Art Institute of California, Los Angeles, whatever the fuck it's called. But it's gone now. It's closed. Just the whole fucking school went through some fucking financial issues. It was fucking awesome.
Oh my God, that's terrible. Terrible.
Okay, my experience of it was great, but some of the branches and some of the other people's experiences were just terrible. And how they handled the exit of how everything falling apart, and a lot of these kids being in like I remember it happened like with right the semester or the quarter after Stephanie graduated, people were like. People at the school were flocking the dean's office, trying to get their transcripts because the school was shutting down and they're like no classes and all that. And there are these kids who are like who put money into the school that, you know, and then shutting down without notice. So so that's why, like, that's what I'm like, you know what, that's what fucking happens. But because they're
You graduated, so you're like, sorry, bye.
Well, I mean, the thing is, okay, so I graduated on time. I like my last day of school was on my birthday, but it was also the same year the economy tanked. So I remember like a lot of my teachers saying, good luck finding a job because the economy's dead. And in my head, I'm a fucking, you know, young 21-year-old, like, you know, economy, schmeconomy, you know, like I'm a young buck, I'll figure it out. And, you know, thankfully I did get hired after, but I had no understanding of at that time of like how, like what a recession is and how bad it was or anything. And I honestly don't think I truly, thanks to my mom, like she's an amazing woman. Like, I don't think I ever felt the real hit of the recession because I didn't notice like the struggles, and that's how, I guess, testimony of how hard my mom worked.
Wow.
So, yeah, so it was, and luckily I was able to fucking get a job right after college, and then start working. So
wow, and all while dancing and teaching.
All while still dancing and teaching, and that's the thing too. While I was like my last quarter of school, like I faced so many people telling me like what are you gonna do, animation or dance? You can't do both. One of my teachers said this one animator chick that joined our animation not club, but I guess group, and then a lot of us like, oh, she's cute and all that stuff. And then when she said like, oh, like you can't do both, like kind of condescending, I was like, no, fuck this bitch, I'll prove everyone wrong.
Of course.
And then, you know, like that's where I got used to the idea like of, you know, because I don't know, I feel like, why can't you?
Exactly.
You know, like, why do you have to stick to one and all that stuff? And, you know, I still believe that you can get both, just not at the same time. So it's you got to be smart, and especially, and also like prioritize the thing in a sense that helps, you know, support yourself in a sense, until while you're chasing that. But that's the thing, like I never really pursued dance that hard to become an industry dancer. Like after my first few auditions for agencies, I was like, meh. I just wasn't feeling it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just like, because I liked the community stuff because it was enjoyable, the support. But then going to these auditions, it was like so intense. Because, you know, this is like literally everyone at the same time being interviewed for one or a few spots.
Yeah.
So it was a glorified hobby.
There you go. So yeah, I would say some people quit because of the stress. So do you feel like having made the choice to pursue animation helped you continue to enjoy dance?
Yeah, in a sense, it became like, okay, this is like this is what I'm using to support my dancing. Though the drawback with working a lot in the animation industry is that at least the time I was in it, it's super different now. But for me, it wasn't the healthiest of habits that I had, because a lot of sitting, very sedentary lifestyle, not that active, and you had to be like, even with all the dancing I was doing, it still wasn't that enough. I was gaining a lot of weight. So, but yeah, like, and so I forgot where I was going with this, but yeah, it just wasn't the healthiest lifestyle. And it started showing in terms of like my performance with my dancing.
Why you stopped?
In the animation industry, no. It part of it was knowing I was going to become a dad and realizing, oh my god, when I would work like 60, 80 hours, like during crunch time, a week, it was just crazy. And I got to a point where I was like, when I heard that Jordan was on his way, I was like, what kind of dad do I want to be? So I was like, am I just gonna show up tired and just give them presents, or do I actually want to be able to spend time with them the way I want?
There you go. So is this how Vision Paradox came about?
Vision Paradox came about like later. I got into it because I guess my quote unquote entrepreneurship journey started because of after I joined this leadership program. And I think that was super intense and it helped a lot in helping me develop, I guess, a lot of self-awareness and how I show up in interacting with other people. But then I realized I was also really good at sales. That's where I joined I joined Herbalife and MLM, and I was like, yeah, like I can become like a health coach and all this other stuff. And then through that, like, because I felt like there were gaps. I was like, don't you have to be like a nutritionist and learn stuff? So I started learning a lot of stuff. There's questions in my head, so I started learning things on my own, and I started started actually training clients and all that stuff. Because I think that's the thing. The pitfall of MLMs is that they try to have you stick to their way instead of questioning it. So you made it your own. I made it my own. And what else was there? Yeah, and they kept pushing me to create recruit people, recruit, and I was like, I don't fucking want to build a team if they don't want to be here. I want to sell. I'm good at it. The thing is, like the cut was shit. So that's not what I wasn't a fan of, and that's where I started realizing, oh, maybe I can start doing this on my own, and that's why I started having my own programs, and started my own packaging and everything, which just so happened to include the Herbalife products.
There. Oh, so that's how it was. So for those who don't know, I wasn't on the train when Emeroy was doing YouTube, teaching tutorials, growing his fan base then. But I was around when he was doing this, and this dude, his face was like everywhere. I was seeing him through Facebook, YouTube clips, and it was like you were a life coach. I was getting all this advice left and right. I was getting emails, promo emails, like I totally forgot you did that. So
shit, yeah, dude. Yeah. So I was hustling, and then what frustrated me with, and at that point, dance became more of a smaller thing.
That was a big one for you. Because I was the nutritional life coach. That information was very good. So is there a way people can still go and find any of those videos?
You can.
Any of your coaching?
Yeah, you
where can people see this?
You can still go through my YouTube, and if you switch the order and going from the oldest, you can see a lot of my stuff from like 2011, 12, 13. And I was trying to be super inspirational and all that stuff. And I think it's what a lot of people are doing, because I was aspiring to be a life coach, but I hadn't experienced life yet. Like you're a 20-year-old telling what you haven't experienced real life yet. I mean, I'm pretty sure that people that have experienced like some real shit, but there's also these kids who are trying to become life coaches who haven't had real life experiences. They haven't seen shit. They haven't seen the dark side, but of a lot of stuff. Because, empathy in coaching people plays a huge thing. So, and sometimes, for those, especially if you're young, the older people will just see that as patronizing. It's like, oh yeah, I understand. And like, oh, you're 20 years old. You don't know what the fuck I'm going through a divorce. Have you gone through a divorce? So so that's where I kind of shifted a lot of things. Like I went away from the health coaching stuff because I wasn't a nutritionist or anything like that. So I felt like there were better licensed people for that, and the pay was shit. And I was also getting really frustrated with people not listening to me. So like they were like, you give people a plan and it's hard for them to follow it, because we're humans, which is one of the reasons I prefer Vision Paradox, because I can control everything. And then the whole I went away from becoming a life coach because I went away from being a life coach because at that time I hadn't really experienced life in a real way yet. I hadn't gone to jail yet. So. But yeah, eventually, eventually started Vision Paradox, and like that, a lot of everything, these skills kind of realized like because I was pushing the social media stuff through the health coaching and through my tutorials, I realized I can do this for other people. I got my first client, helped him sell out a show, and then I realized I was like, sick, I can get paid for this. So.
And who was this client?
It was for the dance theater company I was with called Antics. I joined them back in 2016. And then we were going to go perform at Philadelphia, and I asked like how our ticket sales were doing, and they were like, so I took over and did like Facebook ads and some basic. This was like before it was called influencer marketing. We did influencer marketing and sold at both shows, and I was like, sick. I didn't get paid for it, but it was cool to get a result to prove that what I did for myself can work for other people. So that's where I realized I started pushing it as a service. And Vision Paradox started going from there around 2016. Yeah, 2016. And then I got my business partners around 2017. And here we are. Oh my God, is it going to be 5 years? Yeah, it is.